When I was talking about cross-hatching, I kind of poo-pooed on this drawing here. I don't want you to think that this type of approach is bad. My point is that when we're doing directional mark making, when we're moving in a direction, we're going to get a better sense of 3 dimensions. But these other types of mark making, like stippling, these are really good for representing texture. So when we come back to shaded drawings, you can also do these other types of mark making that will help you get a better sense of texture. So this here looks a little more 3-dimensional. This would do a better job of showing like a rocky surface or maybe an orange or something like that. And then maybe we could learn to, while I'm shading, I'm doing some of my shading in directions, and then I can come back over top of that and add texture. So we want to realize what each thing does better. Here you'll see a drawing. This is by an artist named Benjamin Kyle. It's a photorealistic drawing, and it's done entirely in stippling. This works really well. Here we'll see a detail of that. This works really well for this subject matter because the subject matter is of a guy with a very porous face. He's got a lot of little pits and holes in his face. So that stippling style really mimics that. And you see this is all just constructed of the artist going and making little dots. In the beard, the mustache, he uses a few more lines. The other thing that the stippling approach does really well in this is a photorealistic image. It's not realistic. There's like blur effects and stuff going on that you wouldn't get in reality. And photos are printed with these little ink jets just spraying dots at everything. So in that sense, the stippling is a very wise choice, both in terms of the photorealism and the texture. Now, those aren't our 2 options. We can put together pretty much any repeat little pattern here. Here's some examples. I don't want you in the assignment to just use these examples. You can come up with, like I could come up with a little scribbly pattern here that looks like curly hair, or maybe I do like leaves. It looks like a bush or something. Any way that you create a fairly repetitious type of mark. Here, I'll do this. That's better for leaves. Maybe this is like little grass or like little fuzzy hairs. You can see some options here where it's like radiating. These are all pretty much using line. That's a good stone pattern. But even in all these different uses of line, you get different textures. So every different way that you think of using your hand could create a different sense of texture, and it's a different type of mark making. And you could apply all of these even while you're shading. So I could go, and we'll get to this eventually, but even while I'm shading, I can move my hand directionally. Well, let me get a pencil tool here. Something that'll get lighter and darker. Yeah, there we go. So even as I'm shading, I can move my hand in different directions and get a different sense of texture. That's still not getting. Let me get something here that will also change grays as I go. Yeah, there we go. We get lighter gray. So I could create shading, and I'm just moving my hand in a direction to get different directions. But I could go in and create my shading, and we'll get to this. I know we haven't dealt with shading yet, but I could also do my shading by putting in a texture like that, and you'll be able to start combining the 2. So for one of these assignments, I'm going to have you do a drawing out of imagination that uses 7 different types of mark making. I don't necessarily want you to use these ones on the screen. I want you to come up with your own, and there will be a demo video for that.